David. I like
I
the
got
striped
tremendous
shirt you got
confidence in
on.
him.
Justin, Timothy, Jerry, Veronica, Larry, Valerie, Donnie, Beverly, Sean, Mike, Alicia. Oh man, everybody's here. Amanda, where's the baby? With Scott, maybe. Maybe it's with
Welcome
Scott.
back on this beautiful Monday, everybody.
Good to see you all. Okay. Everybody, what kind of beverage you got going on? Anyone have their Truca mugs? Oh, there you go. Sharon's got hers. Awesome. If not now, when? That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Michelle,
Hey,
we should get Leo and I each a Truca mug too. You know, that would be a
I
really
think we
good
should.
idea.
I've been using this one. It's still a Truca mug, but
Coming
different
up.
style. Awesome. I'm waiting for it. Okay. Hey, Saturday, we had a really beautiful, amazing call. We went over the morning routine. I just want to check in. Say I if you did your morning routine. Say I if you did your morning routine this morning. I in the chat. I want to see who and not some people put A or the actual I. I meant like I. Who did their morning routine this morning? Okay, actually not as many of you as I thought. I thought a lot more of you would kind of get your morning routines. So I know a few of you did. I know all of our students did because we're on their butts all the time, but this is good. Let's keep it rocking then. This is going to be a great day, Andrew.
Absolutely. I'm actually really pumped about today. We have 21 days after this. Can you believe we are right at two-thirds done with the 60 days to deals? Who else feels like besides me that this is just flying by? If it's feeling like it's flying to you, type it in the chat. Yes.
It really is. It
I'm
really is. It's been the
telling you, we
fastest
committed
month
to this
ever.
60 days. Oh my gosh. Crazy. We literally started this June 1st and it's freaking halfway through July. We started this on the first day of the second half of the year. Think of that. Is that right? So, welcome back, everybody. We have a jam packed day for you today. We're going to be talking about exit strategies. So, grab your pen and your paper, type exit or write exit strategies on your pad. We're going to be talking about these, and it really comes down to negotiation. In even 60, 30-minute slots. I can't get through all the exit strategies. So that's why I share the frame. When you come hang out with us for 3 days, of course, we'll get to continue delving in even deeper and deeper. Those of you who are in our community, of course, we continue to dig deeper every week. The objective here that I want to give you is the overview and the questions to ask, because frankly, your seller is going to create your deal structures when you're buying the house, and your buyer is going to create your deal structures when you're selling the house. Got it? So, how's your energy? 1 out of 10. How's everybody's energy? Mine's like a solid 9.5 today. I feel fantastic. I don't know if I told you, Leo, I'm about to hop a flight to Vegas here shortly for an event. I know it's
Good
your
old
favorite place.
Vegas.
And Ahmed or Derek, one, who you're going to be hearing from here over the next few days, both of them, one of them is going to go to Vegas with me next month. All expenses paid. We just don't yet know who. Ahmed's smiling. So this is fun. I'm Ed and Derek. For anybody who's new here, anybody who's new, they're our acquisitions team who lead up acquisitions they both do way more than that. Ahmed builds out a ton of cool stuff, making all of this possible. And you'll see more and more of that the more you hang around us. But you'll see a sneak peek a little bit about how they're doing it and balancing the real estate business. And I want to showcase our business behind the scenes. In upcoming days, you're going to meet one of our favorite Kentucky attorneys. You're going to meet also, you've already met some of our private lenders. You're going to be meeting more. You're going to meet some of our mastermind students who have done tons of deals and talk about how they're running their businesses and duplicating our model. Because I want to showcase and give you guys as much information as possible that even though you see me on Leo and how our business works here, we want you to see how it works in your personality or various personalities, right? So I want this to become real to you guys and to have actionables, not just cool theory of two awesome looking dudes on a screen telling you what works, right? So that's the objective. So exit strategies. Number one is, we talked about this briefly last week, is wholesaling. Wholesaling means you find somebody who's either a landlord or a flipper, and they're going to pay you cash for the property. Doesn't matter how you contracted it, but it means there's probably a substantial amount of equity. And so you're flipping it to someone who wants to buy this house to either fix and flip it way below value or wants to buy it and add it to the portfolio. So a traditional cash out buyer, whether they're getting a bank loan or paying you cash. So number one is wholesale. Number two is what I call hotel. WHOLE, hotel. Means I contracted a deal below value for cash, usually. Let's say it's worth 200. I contracted it for 150 or 140 or 160, a little bit low value, but not quite good enough that I want to buy it myself cash, or if you're not yet in a position to, but you know it's worth more as is. And you go find a end buyer, a landlord or a homeowner who wants to buy this thing and add it for their self. And now you profit the difference. For example, remember a lady come to me on Pollock Avenue, and I thought I was making it up. Now I realize a lot of people do this and call it all sorts of things. But in 2015, I remember the first time I ever did this, she comes to me, it's about $100,000 house, and she wanted 80,000 cash. And because I couldn't get her to take terms and she wouldn't come down off the price, I contracted it at $80,000 and I sold it to a person who wanted to buy it and live in it for 95,000. Well, actually, it was a little more, but by the end, I walked away with $15,000 check just for finding a retail buyer, contracting it, finding a retail buyer, and putting her in. One is wholesale, two is hotel. By far my favorite is lease options. That's what you hear me talk the most about. That's what we're going to delve into today. If you're a landlord or you're thinking about being, lease option is the only exit strategy I ever want you using, with rare exception. I've tried the landlording business. I've had the 12 unit that I self-manage. I've changed the light bulbs and rewired the outlets that didn't work. I've been down that road, and I don't want you going there. So you'll be one of those tired landlords that somebody else on this call is buying from. Lease option everything. The cash flow without the headaches. So lease options, and I'm going to talk, that's what I'm going to delve into today, about how to ensure that you are getting top price on your lease options. And then, of course, there is selling on contract for deed or owner financing. And I'm going to just categorize those the same, because unless you're in Texas, I almost never want you to do that. All right. So lease option is going to be your favorite strategy. Number one, it means the day the person moves into the property, that they are going to give you write it down, NROD, a non-refundable option deposit. Now, a question I get a lot of times is, how much down will they give you? The answer is, it depends, because our script clearly says, when someone calls interested in our house on the lease option, what's the most you could put toward a down payment on your new home? All right. So write this down. Additional income streams. There's two ways to have additional income streams. One is go do more crap, right? If I'm selling, I don't know, if I'm selling candy and I want to go get another income streams, I can go sell cars, right? If I want another income stream, I can go sell more cars. So there's additional income streams, which is what real estate, I want you to get great at, using real estate to build your income stream. And then there is additional income streams from the same amount of work. Write this down: duplicating efforts. So here's where it gets so important, because I've had people come to me. In fact, I've got one on the call this afternoon. One of our mastermind students called me this morning after they texted me and said, "You have a minute?" I said, "Of course." We hopped on a three-way call with a seller, or was going to. She didn't answer, so we got it booked for this afternoon. And he says to me, this looks like a dead deal, doesn't it? We took a dead deal and we've turned it to what is likely, if should it go through, all projected, all hot air currently, should it go through, he's going to turn that to between a $40,000 and a $60,000 profit. Right? So in other words, some people go, well, I already know how to do real estate. I say, cool. Except what if you knew you could take the same deal and the same amount of effort that you was about to kill or about to make 20K on, and you could add another 20 or 40K with the same amount of effort with one minor tweak. All right, that's duplicating efforts. So we're going to ask great questions. What's the most you can put down? What can you afford as a monthly payment on your new home? Now, here's where it gets really fun. We find additional income streams from within the lease option business. For example, somebody often says, well, I have $10,000 to put down. To which I always respond, got you. A lot of times we do work closer with a 20% down mark. How much more could you do? Let's say they don't have as much down as you want. This is where creativity comes in. And I'm not giving you the things here. I'm giving you the frame here so you can create the things, right? So when you say, what's the most you can do? And they say a number. When we start to peel back the onion, so to speak, I have had people I found out was about to get a big refund on their taxes. And they were willing to commit or pledge $5,000 or $10,000 from their returns coming up in February to the house, toward the house that they're now lease optioning from me, right? So it's another income stream by asking one more question. It took me another 10 seconds on the phone. Boom, out of nowhere, I got another 5K closer to what I want. So you as the business owner, ask the questions. Okay, where else could I find? Ahmed recently called me. He goes, do you want a 2013 Kia? I said, I don't think so. Why the heck would I want a 2013 Kia? He said, well, they have X dollars down and they have a 2013 Kia they're willing to give down. I said, of course I want a 2013 Kia. Why would you even ask? So we sold them the house on the lease option, to which they put a non-refundable option deposit plus a 2013 Kia as a non-refundable option deposit on the home. So taxes, trades, with some other cool places we could assist them in finding money. There could be retirement accounts. There's all sorts of different places that you can go. So it comes down to what? We need a thing we're selling. In this case, it's real estate. We need a buyer who wants the thing you're selling. In this case, a future homeowner. And then we need a way to turn this into a profit while solving everyone's challenges involved, right? So this is why you're going to constantly hear me say and add revenue streams. And I remember one student in 2018, I was only 4 years into the business at the time, and we was talking, and I said one day to him, I said, man, you've got to add this. How much money do you have at taxes coming that you could put toward the home? He called me the next February. He goes, Schlag. I said, yeah. He said, you'll never believe it. I said, what? He goes, I just collected over $100,000 non-refundable deposits this month. I said, well, you're in an area that's cheap houses. How'd you do that? He said, well, $73,000 of it, or some number, I don't remember the exact, something, tens of thousands came from all year. I just asked every single tenant buyer how much they can put at tax time. One minor shift. So realize that it's not the thing that we do, it's the person we become in doing the thing. It makes you better when you buy cars. It makes you better when you buy houses. It makes you better when you're talking to those around you. It makes you better when you're structuring the structures with your team. It makes you better in every aspect. That's our objective together here. So exit strategies. Lease options are our favorite because, number one, we get cash flow every single month. The tenant pays us rent Number two, because we get a non-refundable deposit the day they move in. Reverse or lowers, I should say, our risk. Then number three, because if and when they end up cashing you out in the future, you get a big, beautiful back-end payday. All right. So front end, middle end, back end. So as you're building this snowball, write it down again. You're going to hear me continue to harp on this. As you're building your snowball, write down momentum. Momentum is because as you're building your snowball, you're going to notice that, I don't want to say it gets easier, but you're going to notice more things happen with the same amount of effort. So go with me for a minute. Imagine that you do a deal. You do a deal this month. You lease option it. Cool. You got your non-refundable deposit. Awesome. Boom. You got your monthly cash flow. Awesome. Now you do it again next month. Let's say by the end of this year, you've done 5 deals or more. You continue solving challenges along the way. All right. Now, let's say next year, this time, you've done 10 deals. Very realistic, by the way, if you implement this. Let's say it's less. Let's say it's more. It doesn't matter. Let's say you've done 10 deals by this time next year. You keep doing the same darn thing. David keeps calling and buying these houses on owner finance, creative finance, and then he keeps selling them on lease option. Next year at this time, you're going to be selling a house on lease option, and you're going to get a call from one of your buyers from last year. And he says, David, and you say, Kenny, what's up, brother? And he says, I've been working, with that lender you put me with last year when you sold me the house. You go, oh my gosh, yeah, I practically forgot about it. He goes, well, I am actually needing a couple documents from you because we are going to go to closing next week or next month. And I need a few of those documents from you that I've lost. And we're going to be cashing this out. And David goes, oh, crap, that's 123 Main Street. Let's see. I need to pull those documents up. And David gets to looking, and he forgets, and this has happened to me countless times, and he forgets that house that he bought on creative financing for $150,000 and sold on a lease option for $199,900 has been paid down, and he's about to go get another $50K. That's the snowball, right? Year 2, you're not only getting paid for the effort you're doing, but boom, the effects from year 1 start to compound, and you're getting checks that you forgot you even had coming. All right, this is making sense. Give me a thumbs up. All right. Most of you, yes, good. So our objective here is to continue to give you tools to be able to make more money in real estate. Because the more money you can, the more tools you can implement or have to implement in real estate, the more money you can make. And the more money you can make, the more you can live your purpose. All right. So finding these buyers, we must market. In fact, I'm heard it said that we're not the real estate business, we're in the marketing business. And I think there's definitely some truth to that. We're in the marketing business. Why? Because your objective is finding people who have houses they need to sell, coming to a win-win scenario, finding people who need to buy, and coming to a win-win scenario and profiting the difference. All right. So for each of you, the words you say, the questions you ask can be the make or break of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. This is so important. Write this down. Silence is golden. We talked about this earlier. Some of you have came in since we talked about this on the buying side, and we're talking about it on the selling side. I remember one of my acquisitionists years ago, incredible guy, still a friend of mine. Actually, he called me yesterday about a deal. And great friend of mine. And I remember him sitting there in his office chair. I wish you could see all of me right now. I would portray his whole vibe to you, but I can't do it on the little screen I got. So remind me, I'll do it when we're together in Louisville. And so he's sitting back in his chair. I'm young, it's 2015 or 2016. I just bought 26 houses in a few weeks, and I'm going, oh, crap, I got to make all these mortgages. How am I going to do this? to bring Robert in to help me. And Robert's sitting there. And Robert's sitting in his chair with his phone laying there, and he's rocking back and forth. And he says to this lady, he says, what could you put down toward your new home? Phone goes silent. She goes, probably like 20,000. And I'm like, take it, Robert, take it, go. And he goes, hmm. She goes, but that's not enough. I could do 30. He sits there rocking back and forth. And I'm like, say something, Robert. I'm about to lose my mind. And he goes, well, she goes, that ain't enough, is it? And he says, well, we usually work closer to 20% down, which is true. And he was able. Now, why is this important? Because more someone puts in, write it down, no risk, no goodies. Works both ways. I remember first time I ever went to a seminar trying to come up with the money for a $34,000 coaching program. And I'm going, oh my gosh, like I can't do this. And the guy leading the conference said something. He said, well, if you're not vested, you won't take it as serious. And I'm like almost offended, you know, I'm like, of course I would. I wish I could afford this. And I'm 21 years old and broke. But what happened was I started calling family and friends and doing all sorts of things, applied for credit cards to get together enough money to put a down payment down on this. About 6 weeks later, when I was calling and getting no on the phone, I realized he was right. Because had I not already made a commitment and been at risk, I probably would have gave up on this business weeks after starting, because I quit about 90 times in my mind. So I realized that he was right. Same goes with your buyer. No risk, no goodies. You go letting a tenant into your house for a little bitty deposit, $500, $1,000, some little rent, first month's rent deposit, they're not vested. If you can get 20% non-refundable option deposit the day they move in, of course, it's great for profit and it's great for commitment, right? So it lowers your risk as owning the property, and it greatly increases the chance they're going to do what they say, right? Some of you lived through 08. You know the challenges that happened back then. In other words, you need to position yourself to ensure that you're getting a return on your investments, right? Whether that be your investments in yourself or your investments in properties. So no risk, no goodies. Make sure that you are getting a sizable commitment. What you say and sometimes what you don't say will determine how much you make on a deal. All right, we're going to take some questions and answers here in just a moment. I want to make sure I'm on track with what you guys are needing. And so these questions always help us realign there. I want to, though, roll back the curtain a little bit. I'm going to do it for two reasons over these next several days together. We have a remaining, after today, 21 more days. And I am going to roll back the curtain for two reasons. Number one, for your benefit, because I know all of you are going to get massive benefit from seeing Derek and seeing Ahmed and seeing Harry and seeing Glenn and seeing Judy, seeing all their businesses and how that we all interact. And it's going to be a huge value add to you and give you thoughts of ways to build your team and joint venture up and partner up and build what you desire to build. The first is education. Second, of course, is the shameless bribe, because all those people are going to be hanging out with you in Louisville. And there's still about 23 of you who haven't got your tickets yet. And I don't know why. So maybe a few more than that. So we're going to be talking more about that. I'm going to continue to showcase to you what it is that you need to do to get the freaking money. All right. I'm very passionate about this because this is the make or break. This is the point where you let someone in that you shouldn't. And what you thought was a big, beautiful, amazing deal that was going to be a lot of profit for you turns to a really time-sucking, money-sucking, stressful thing. Ask me how I know. Managing 12 units on my own, doing all the crap myself, dealing with people who didn't keep their commitments and didn't pay their rent. So this is the make or break, whether this business becomes the machine to propel you to your mission and purpose, or whether you're out there wandering around trying to figure it out, screwing up, losing a ton of money or a ton of hair. So I want all of you to ensure you have these right tools. We're going to jump to some questions to make sure I'm on track with what you guys need. I'm going to take a little more time for that today before we wrap up and talk about what we're going to do tomorrow.
All right. Our first question today comes from Tim Keown. He says, I am close on an agreement on a no money down sub two deal that needs a moderate remodel, about 40 to 50K to be habitable. I was thinking about selling lease option on a work for equity deal. Would you sell like this? And what is the minimum percentage you would require and Rod in that situation?
That's an awesome question. I'm not an attorney and don't claim to be. Everything I'm about to say is probably a lie, and you should check with your local attorney. So, when it comes to selling it on lease option, Tim, the challenge is even though it is a lease option, you're still under landlord rules. And so, if you're selling a house that's not inhabitable, it can be a challenge for you. So, I would get a great big down payment and consider a CFD, a contract for deed, or I would consider putting a little bit of money into it to make it livable, make sure the power's on, the water's on, whatever, and then put somebody in. So what I've done in those scenarios, if I could just put, say, 5K into getting the water on, power on, and getting it looking and smelling decent, then I would find somebody who does want to do all the work. And because you'll find people who want to do all the work now. I just think you're putting yourself at a position that you don't want to be put in. So do the math, see if you could spend just a little dab of money to make it habitable and find that before finding that tenant buyer.
All right. Awesome question here from Sharon. And she says, I have a seller in chapter 13 and wants to avoid foreclosure. Will let me take over the payments. He's 30K behind. Doubt I can get the 30K deposit. Payments are 1433 PITI a month. 3.5% interest, owes 225,000 with a value of 260. How would you navigate that?
Huh. The first thing is there's not much equity here. So this deal does not excite me. The two things I always look at is number one, if I got to write a $30,000 check, do I know I can get a bigger one back in a few days or a few weeks? So I would consider locking this up with a clear understanding that I'm going to go find my tenant buyer. And only if I find a tenant buyer would I close on the thing. Because I don't see no reason to write a $30,000 check for almost no equity. And I didn't catch there what the cash flow would be. So that would be the only other piece that I would want to know. And then worst case scenario, you've contracted it. You went and built a tenant buyer list with 15, 20. It's easier to find a buyer for a house than a house for a buyer. Vice versa, what I just said. Easier to find a house for a buyer than a buyer for a house. So if you build your buyers list, you've won. If you find somebody with 25 or 30 and you just a net break even on the front, then it's probably worth adding it to your portfolio just because of that interest rate.
All right. Next question comes from Guy. He says, on a lease option 3-year contract, what is the process to increase the purchase price at the anniversary date? And is there a standard amount to increase?
It is 100% your personal decision. I have two rules. Number one, my lease options are all 1 year. Number two, I treat everybody like I want to be treated. I like that it feels good to me. It gives them plenty of time to get together whatever they need to. And I very frequently extend, which I have no problem with. But on the rare occasion, which I don't have time for the story today, but remind me, Guy, and I'll be happy to tell another day of what broke me of 3-year lease options. But the objective is you just treat people like you want to be treated and always give them that ample opportunity to get cashed out. Now, if they come to me after 12 months and month 13 and cash me out, I've never once raised the price. It's never been a challenge. But of course, if they come to me 7 years into a 1-year lease option, that's a different scenario, and we work through that together.
All right. Our next question today comes from Andrew. He says, in the example of a 2013 Kia, when we get to the closing table at the end of the term, assuming they got their credit up, how do I go about applying their trade to the rest of the NROD on the purchase? As I know, the option deposit is used to pay down closing costs and attorney fees, etc.
100% of the non-refundable option deposit goes directly toward the purchase price. We work with a great local lender who recognizes our, cash that we receive or Kias that we receive and all of that. So that would be the number one desire. Number two, of course, in the case it was a different scenario, you would credit them that off the purchase price. But we've always done it toward the down payment, keeps them from having to come up with as much more and sometimes no more the day that they actually pay us off in full with a bank loan.
All right. Next question comes from Marina, our awesome new Bobslow student. She says, "How do you get?"
Marina,
Marina asks,
welcome.
how do they get the mortgage at the end of the lease? Don't they have a down payment? I thought the non-refundable fee would go towards the down payment. And I think that might be segueing on the last question a little bit as well, right, Andrew?
Every penny of the non-refundable option deposit goes directly toward the purchase price. We prefer it be trackable in a cashier's check or certified funds because that is simple, and pretty much every lender that I've worked with would take it. Whereas when you're going in trades and stuff, again, we have great relationship with local lenders who can honor the things. So that's really important to know.
All right. Our next question comes from MRT Properties. He says, what are the best platforms to offer properties lease option? For long-term rentals, I've been using mostly Facebook Marketplace and personal contacts. I have 2 properties currently fixing up to rent. I want to make these my first lease option units. I did have one house last year that almost went that way, but my placement person ended up with a long-term lease. So looking for the best platforms to offer properties on lease option.
We use Facebook Marketplace. We use Facebook groups. And we use, this is the key, guys, supercheapsigns.com. For any of the new people here, I'm telling you, this super cheap signs, I rave about it. 18 by 24 yellow signs that appear like ugly handwritten. And we sell so many houses. Way less than half of your calls will come from these, but nearly over a third of our buyers come from these. A tremendous amount of our buyers come from these, and arrows from every main road in. If your house is on a side street, there's 5 people a day driving by. If you have 20, 30 arrows, 15 arrows, whatever, pointing in from every main direction out, then that drives people from the main roads in. That's key. So bandit signs, lease option your own beautiful home, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, and I've had realtors bring me buyers, and Zillow, and anywhere else that houses are sold for sale by owner, Craigslist, etc.
Okay, we have an awesome comment here from one of our masterminders, Tim Pearson. He says, we have a tenant buyer who wanted a lower payment on a 200K purchase price. I wanted 1,400 a month. She wanted 1,200. She had already committed a 10% NROD. And I said, can you do a 15% down in exchange for the 1,200 a month? And she said, yes. So simple question, netted an extra 10K. Awesome job, guys.
Way to go. And I want to do 2 more things today. Tom asked, do we use Pat Live for our signs? Yes. That will be in your resource center. Make sure all of you are in circle where you see all of this. And then I want to bring one of our mastermind members, Clayton, up for about 90 seconds here, because I seen him over there on the phone. And I was like, if Clayton's on the phone during one of these calls, it means he's closing a deal. And so he just messaged me and says, just got the deal. So tell us about this deal, bro.
So what I got here, Andrew, is that the deal I've had, but I got a deal after the deal. And you taught me this strategy a long time ago, that once you wrap up a deal, sometime in the future, you're going to get a big discount on your payoff. So I have a deal on a really nice place, and I locked it up, no interest, at 140 grand for 5 years. 140,000 for 5 years. And I owe her close to $140,000 right now on it. And I knew it was going to happen. She contacted me today and said, hey, if you can give me $70,000, I'll take it.
Wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 years.
Yes.
She calls you today offering you a $70,000 discount for an early payoff.
Yes, an early payoff. And I've been kind of planting that seed in her. Listen, if I come across money, I'm going to seek for a discount. She never would reply. But today she says, if you can come up with $70,000, I'll take it. So I just got a $70,000 discount. The ARV on this place is 340. It needs work. It's got a pool, though, an in-ground pool, a concrete driveway. The house it's a deal. And so that's a big celebrate for me today. So
just think about, and I want you guys, all you listening to this, think about this for a minute. Clayton is the answer to her prayer. I've had people come to me who need 70,000 to shoot. I've been in the position I needed 70,000 a day before, not 140 in a year or two or three.
Yeah.
And it is so cool to be positioned to net people way more over time, and the people who need it to be able to still make a tremendous profit and get them what they need. That is incredible, Clayton. Thank you for sharing that, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for letting me share it.
Yeah. Keep up the awesome work.
Thanks, buddy.
So, guys, tomorrow we have a jam-packed day. We're going to be talking more about how we're going to be closing more of your guys' deals this week. Talk about how you can be a part of that. We're going to be delving deeper into exit strategies, and we're going to start peeling back the onion, rolling back the curtain as you hear from Derek, as you hear from Ahmed, as you hear from Glenn, as you hear from Harry, as you hear from Judy, and you hear from our team and begin to see behind the scenes of how our business and their business operates. So, how many of you are loving this? Give me a thumbs up. Isn't this fun? Day 30. What day are we on, Leo or Paul?
We are 38 today. 38 to 60,
38.
guys. This is flying.
Wow, 38 to 60. And guys, over 100 of you here today hanging out with us on this beautiful Monday. I'm telling you, I know I told you before, it just keeps getting truer. It's going to keep getting better, and we've just barely got started. All right. Sending all of our love, our excitement to you. We'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. Bye for now, guys.